and John Champion.
The McAlpine Stadium, now very firmly established as a semi-final venue, holds its collective breath. One of the most eagerly anticipated matchups of recent years is almost upon us. Tony Grimaldi, one of many Australians in this Hull side, leads out his troops. And they're greeted by the largest number of travelling supporters taken to an away fixture by Hull for a decade. Nearly 10,000 of them in total, making up part of a very healthily sized crowd inside the McAlpine. And confirmation of the Hull lineup. One or two problems in arriving at this formation. Sean McRae, sadly no Richard Horne, he's got ankle trouble. Mick Jenkins, the hooker, has a knee ligament injury. So chances for two Hull-born youngsters, Paul King and 18-year-old Paul Cook, a surprise selection at standoff. The skipper Tony Grimaldi returning in the second row after a neck operation. Luke Felsh moving into the front row. As for Leeds, they suffered a scare in training on Friday when Darryl Powell tweaked a muscle in his side. He, though, has been past fit. Leroy Rivette plays his first Challenge Cup tie since scoring 4 times in last year's final. And 20-year-old hooker Andy Speake plays for only the 5th time in his first-team career. The two captains, Grimaldi of Hull on the left, Iestyn Harris of Leeds on the right. And overseeing events out in the middle, the match referee, Stuart Cummings from Widnes.
Right, hold to kick.
In his time, he's taken charge of 3 Challenge Cup finals. There's Darryl Powell, who's had his left side heavily strapped so that he can take part in today's game despite that injury. And he's not the only injury doubt that Leeds have. Fullback and captain Iestyn Harris has a knee problem, hence the bandaging around his left leg. Paul Broadbent, the only member of the Hull side to have won the Challenge Cup with Sheffield in 1998. And so, that battle in this second Silk Cup Challenge Cup semi-final commence. Hull in their traditional black and white, playing from the right, and it's David Barnhill who's come into the second row for Leeds in place of Adrian Morley, who's suspended. And immediately the ball goes loose and it's picked up, and there's a chance for Hull inside the opening few seconds. Will Robinson held up 5 metres from the line.
That was a terrible mistake by Barnhill, but Hull have a great chance now to put some points early on the board.
And here's David Maiden. Maiden brought to ground and the referee's given a penalty. Anthony Farrell, the offender for Leeds.
We're going in swinging a punch, now keep it out. It's over here. Right.
Just a little bit of a panic in the Leeds Rhinos rant. I think Farrell will try to say that he was trying to punch the ball out there. I don't think he made contact with the face. But it's 2 points and a great start for Hull. If you take your minds back, for those of you who watched the quarter-final against Wigan, Hull it was who made an early mistake right from the kickoff. Paul Broadbent losing control of the ball, and Wigan had an early penalty and took the lead. But remember, the score in that one, Hull progressed to the semi-final. So all this will do is give Hull the chance to settle their nerves.
And a very welcome chance at that. The view of their coach Sean McRae was that the opening 20 minutes would be vital to the outcome, as usual on semi-final day. So it's Ben Sammut to try to give Hull a very early lead, which he succeeds in doing.
Nice easy kick straight in front of the post, no real problem. 2 points up now for Hull FC straight away, and that's a good start for them. Settle the nerves down. Leeds, on the other hand, I'm sure the messages are going across the back line just to say, no mistakes, no more mistakes. Let's just try and calm things down. Put a little bit of pressure on Hull, because dodgy start to let 2 points be conceded so early on.
Will Robinson playing at scrum half for Hull, another of the central figures surely in the unfolding drama. Iestyn Harris restarting play. Underneath the ball for Hull is David Maiden. And we can go down towards the touchline, and our reporter down there, Richard Duckenfield.
Yes, you might have noticed that the Hull skipper Will Robinson came off decidedly second best in a collision just before that penalty. He was moving very gingerly indeed and needed some treatment, some attention, but he seems okay. He's a very important player to Hull.
And this for Hull is a very important game. After years in the comparative wilderness, the merger of the oldest and newest Super League teams, Hull and Gateshead Thunder, has given them a renewed chance. One that they've seized so far with both hands, judging by their performance against Wigan in the last round.
Not a bad set of 6-2 for Hull. Just bringing away from the line, using the forwards, and then a good kick downfield. Revitt back to cover. Very interesting to see how the key players of Harris and Darryl Powell, the senior player in the Leeds side, how they handle injuries and whether they can last the full game. There's certainly an influence on this Leeds Rhinos side, and they're needed out there to direct the troops.
Well, Leeds are concerned enough about Iestyn Harris's fitness to have named a reserve fullback, Marcus St-Hilaire, on the bench today, which was something of a change of plan. This is Francis Cummins, who actually played at fullback for them in their last Super League fixture, which really was a battle at Wigan. And it was the indiscipline on that occasion that cost Leeds dear, and their watchword today is control. But at the moment, Harris is being pursued. But he's escaped past 4 Hull men, and now it's the kick downfield, which Sammet will go back and pick up. It's a vibrant start to this semi-final, Joe.
A lively start, but a mistake by Leeds there. Didn't control the ball, didn't put the kick in, and eventually Harris used all his elusive skills just to get out of trouble and put the kick down the line. Again, hold a chance to bring it away from the shadow of their own post.
Hull with Broadbent, victorious captain for Sheffield Eagles against Wigan 2 years ago. And unlike all the recent Challenge Cup finals, we're already guaranteed that this year's final at Murrayfield will be the first all-Yorkshire affair for 14 years. And here's Sinfield, and Harris seemed to be interfered with by Carney, the winger. He looked plaintively at the referee, but it's play on. And here's Sheridan in centre field for Leeds. Now Darryl Powell, Richie Blackmore, the New Zealander. On Blackmore has got away, and Blackmore has another post run to the line. Blackmore scores for Leeds, and question marks will be asked about Hull's tackling, but the referee Stuart Cummings is not entirely happy.
What we're having a look at is when the ball was changed over, it's whether or not the player that got the ball was in an offside position. So it's on the handover over there, turnover of possession. Was the Leeds player offside?
Well, you heard it there, Stuart Cummings going to go right back to when Leeds gained control of the ball after the kick. Was it charged down? Was the player offside? That's what they're going to check on. I don't think there was any problem at all in how Richie Blackmore grounded the ball for the try, or possible try. But it has to go back a little bit further to find out from the kick.
Well, the video referee wants to see an earlier portion of that build-up before Richie Blackmore will know whether he scored the opening try of this game.
He's confident, and as I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with him. With Paul Cook, the Hull FC standoff, the youngster missed the tackle on Richie Blackmore. But the question is, earlier on, was there a Leeds player offside when possession was taken from this kick? The ball ricocheting back. And I think that'll be fine. I don't think there's many problems there. You'll have to look to see if Keith Senior made contact with the ball in an offside position.
Well, all eyes inside this stadium are turning towards the giant screen, and they are watching the same pictures as you are.
Keith Senior is just in front there, the number 4 for the Leeds Rhinos, as the ball ricochets. Now, does it catch his leg? I don't think it does. I don't think there's any problem. I think it's actually the Hull player that it hits, and Kevin Sinfield collects. And from that angle, things seem to be okay. There is Keith Senior. Stuart Cummings, the referee, happy with the rest of it.
David Campbell, a former Wembley Challenge Cup final referee himself, is the adjudicator, and he has decided that Leeds are in front. Richie Blackmore, the try scorer, taking him to within 2 of a century of tries in the English game.
Started the season well, despite the criticism that's been levelled at Leeds at their early form. Richie Blackmore, one of the players that really started well, and that try just about underlines that and proves my point. Justin Harris trying to improve and make it 6 points to Leeds.
If you're going to put your money on anyone, it would be the 23-year-old from Oldham. 46 points in Leeds' 3 cup ties so far. Make that 48. It's fortunate that the knee problem doesn't affect his kicking leg.
And here's the replay. Darryl Powell putting the long ball out wide to the right-hand side. Richie Blackmore just using all his strength. Paul Cook couldn't contain him, and then it's a straight run into the line. Doesn't need any support, although he has players around him. A one-handed plant may worry his coach Dean Lance.
But the scoreline won't. 6 points to 2 in Leeds' favour. And Hull, I would imagine, will be pretty disappointed with the way they conceded that try.
Well, Robbie Paul mentioned it beside the programme, just that it was so important for Hull's defence to be right. They've scored an awful lot of points in the lead up to this semi-final. They certainly can cross the line. It's whether they can keep this big pack of Leeds out and the hard-running centres.
Well, Justin Harris certainly looks okay so far, but the Leeds coach Dean Lance is taking no chances. He's had Marcus St-Hilaire doing some fairly vigorous exercises, warming up, keeping himself pretty sharp with the Leeds physio conditioning man Mike McGurn. So they're obviously thinking that maybe Harris is going to have to come off at some point in this game.
Well, it's Harris's kick through that's taken by the fullback Samet. And now the Irishman Brian Carney, former Gaelic footballer who's got pace to spare if he can get away. But he can't. There is Marcus St-Hilaire, known to his teammates as Junior, and a try scorer in both last season's semi-final and final. Luke Felch. In this Hull starting lineup, 9 Australians, 3 more on the bench. They have a huge influence on the homegrown talent, Cook and King, on show today.
That's good defence from Leeds Rhinos, just moving up, shutting the space down, forcing Hull to kick inside their own half.
And it's Paul Cook who does kick straight into the grateful arms of Harris. Lovely sidestep. And Harris still going, now on to Blackmore, who just clings on.
Well, Justin Harris won't knee problem. 2 steps off that supposedly injured knee, causing problems. Barry McDermott using the more straightforward approach.
He could have done with 2 bad knees like his, Joe. Here's Senior. Cummins outside him. Senior can't get the ball away, it's gone loose. Leeds are saying that it was knocked on. And Stuart Cummings will give the scrum down.
And it's Hull's feed. Keith Senior trying to put the pass in. They were repeating that Brian Carney, the wingman, got a hand to it. But Leeds looking dangerous early on, and Justin Harris, I mean, that kick straight down his throat, it was an easy take for him, and then he runs back at the defensive line, and when you're so elusive as Justin Harris is, it's hard to stop. Average pack waist, Hull just having the advantage, I think, on that one.
Keep the 10. As soon as he's tackled, get away. Kevin Sinfield, get in and bind.
Hull trying to gain ground through Samet. Now here's David Maiden playing at loose forward. He's had an impressive start to the season. So much so that Grimaldi has returned in the second row rather than at number 13. Now Felch appeals for a forward pass by the Leeds supporters, not heeded by the officials. Broadbent. Now Will Robinson did well to get the ball away. All daylight couldn't cling on, and Barry McDermott has regained it for Leeds. Hull can ill afford this. Blackmore. And the other worry for Hull is that their second rower, Craig Wilson, is down injured. Here's Fleary. And there's Wilson, who looks not to be in particularly good shape. Sheridan. Leeds successfully punching holes in these opening stages of the game. They've got through once, but that was a poor pass. Retrieved though by Keith Senior. Sinfield at dummy half. Harris shows it to Speak and then gives it to Andy Speak, the young hooker. And it's the last tackle. Sinfield to Sheridan to Senior. The angle of running wasn't quite sufficient to cut through, and Hull have survived.
Scrambling defence in the hole in the corner just to keep the Rhinos at bay, but only just. Both sides are putting a few passes to ground rather than to hand.
Wait.
The concussive noise of the drum beat dictating the singing of the supporters of both sides. Here's Matt Daylight. Grimaldi had a fairly serious neck operation just a few weeks ago and is back ahead of schedule. Now Paul King, David Maiden, an elusive runner when he gets going.
Nice offload by King, just finding support play.
Robinson for the kick, which is towards Rivette, and bounces obligingly for him. Leroy Rivette, last year's 4-try hero of Wembley, his first Challenge Cup appearance since then. Harris. Farrell. Around into Paul King, who's a considerable figure. Barnhill.
Despite the early points, Hull with the penalty and Leeds try through Richard Blackmore, neither sides really seem to have settled down. They haven't found their pattern. A little bit scrappy by both teams. With that play there, Sheridan will look to control things. Again, the kicking not too good.
And picked up by Brian Carney.
They're finding the plays with the kicks, both sides, rather than finding the space. They need to turn the defensive line around.
Would you expect a flowing start to a semi-final though, Joe?
Well, it's nice if you can have one. I mean, you would expect Hull to have settled down the quicker having those two early points. But nerves do play a massive part in determining the first half and how it goes.
It's a very fine atmosphere around the McAlpine. Oh, David Maiden did well to cling on to that. Oh, and then he released the ball and he went to ground. Robinson couldn't gather it in.
And that's what we're talking about. Maiden forcing the pass when maybe it would have better advice just to keep hold of it. Yes, there was a half chance, but instead of putting more pressure on Leeds, they now face the prospect of the scrum feed by Leeds and the Rhinos having possession. It's a fine line, isn't it, just between putting the pass in, which may create a try-scoring chance, or holding on and just putting more and more pressure on.
Harris. Sean McRae, one of the wiliest coaches around, in charge of this Hull side, just as he was at Gateshead last year.
Offside by Hull, and that's the penalty. Again, chance to go downfield.
McDermott slipped. Speak. Now Sheridan. On to Darren Fleary. Seems to be an arm in Fleary's face there from Grimaldi. And here's Harris. Almost through. Sinfield. Just flicked backwards in hope more than anything else. Sheridan, the scrum half, who has an exemplary record in recent Challenge Cup ties. He's been man of the match in 5 of his last 8 games in this competition.
Kick from Harris across field.
And Rivette underneath it, and it's palmed away. And it'll be restarted with a drop from beneath the post.
Well, palmed away by Daylight, according to the referee. Just have a look for Rivette. Gets up. No, it was. Good call by Stuart Cummings. Batted dead in goal, so it'll be a drop out underneath the post for Hull. A chance again for Leeds to get the possession back and have another crack.
Will Robinson's kick taken by Senior. He was actually a teammate of Paul Broadbent in that victorious Sheffield side of 2 years ago. Barnhill, very distinctive figure, Keith Senior. Speak, finding Sinfield. Ball has been ripped away in a 2-man tackle. penalty to Leeds.
Maybe a little bit unfortunate here, Hull. It is up to the ball carrier to keep possession, but you can clearly see Robinson just had an arm in there and pulled the ball out.
Look of concentration on the face of Robinson. Likewise in a moment for Iestyn Harris, who made a little piece of history in rugby league circles last week by becoming the first rugby league player I can think of to appear on the pages of Hello magazine. I suppose in fairness to some of his predecessors in top flight rugby league, whether Hello magazine's readers wanted to read about a day at home with Dave Chisnell or Keith Elwell, I'm not so sure, but Iestyn Harris fits into a different category these days. This to stretch the advantage to 6 points. Takes him to 50 points in the Challenge Cup this season. And the Leeds supporters are happier at this stage. A crowd of approaching 20,000 inside the McAlpine. This stadium cost £29 million to build and is staging a semi-final for the 6th successive season. This, of course, the birthplace of rugby league back in 1895. Oh, and Barnhill has lost it, and it was legally won. And there's a chance here for Daylight, who's going to go for the corner. McDermott tried to make the tackle, couldn't get there, and Matt Daylight, last season's leading scorer in Super League, thinks that he's scored. Stuart Cummings isn't so sure.
Well, Stuart Cummings, the referee, has to go back to the tackle to make sure it was one-on-one when the ball was stolen from Leeds. Again, nothing wrong with the try. There is Barnhill carrying it up, and it's whether the two players were in the tackle or one. Certainly Craig Wilson managed to steal it, but it's whether he had assistance in the... It has to be one-on-one in the tackle. The ball was promoted on the back line superbly by Hull to get the wingman on a one-on-one with a prop forward, Barry McDermott. There is no problem with this, I'm sure, as far as the passing and the try scoring, as Daylight goes for the corner. The big prop forward comes across, just doesn't get there in time, and there's nothing wrong with the try. But this is the problem area. Barnhill, and it were two in the tackle, or was he just assisted and pushed into it? Barnhill, I'm sure, will say, well, there were two people there, I'm convinced.
Wilson effectively was the player that made the tackle and came away with the ball.
Great handling at this point, though, as the players come in. Rivet has to come in, leaves Daylight on the outside. Good cover from the prop forward, Barry McDermott. Just can't get there, and it is, as it says on the scoreboard, a try.
Well, Leeds, I think, are rather taken aback at that. All the players turned and watched those very same replays on the giant screen, and they thought the decision was going to be no try. But Matt Daylight from Brisbane, who scored 25 times for Gateshead last season, has scored again against Leeds. He scored 4 times against them in 3 matches last season. They're obviously his favourite opposition. Now this is a kick from a fair distance out, given the angle. There's no appreciable breeze, but it's a tester for Ben Sammett.
It's hard to tell from this lofted position in the commentary box exactly which direction the breeze is going. It tends to swirl around the McAlpine Stadium. Makes it a little bit difficult to judge, not least of all for the kicker.
Ben Sammett, who in fact is not Hull's first choice goal kicker. The Irish international Ian Heron, who proved himself to be metronomically accurate for Gateshead last season, is currently injured. Sammett, he's given it a chance. Oh, it hit the crossbar. It's a very good attempt.
Nice little draw on it. Just didn't have the height at the end of the distance to climb over the crossbar. There it is in flight, and hits crossbar a couple of inches, and it would have been 2 points added onto the 4 from Daylight. Here is the tackle with Barnhill, and the referee asked the question. The video referee, Dave Campbell, says it was quite lethal, and although there were 2 Hull players in the vicinity, only one had contact with Dave Barnhill.
And Daylight finished it well. Let's hear once again from Richard Duckenfield.
Yes, and you would no surprise to hear that that decision didn't go down at all well on the Leeds bench where I'm sitting. They won't be buying the video referee a drink after this game. Barry McDermott, I suspect, might be making a trip to the bench in the not-too-distant future. He's had treatment on his right knee, a pain-killing spray and some ice compression treatment.
Hull buoyed by that. If there was any doubt about the legality of the try, they were given the benefit of it. And it's Paul Broadbent driving forward for them. Now Paul Cook, the 18-year-old standoff. There was an arm in his face from Fleary after the ball had gone. Cook is looking accusingly at a player who's twice his width in Darren Fleary, decides not to pick a fight.
It was a better kick into space and also a good chase to prevent Easton Harris crossing the 20-metre line.
Senior brought down by a combination of Carney and also Paul King in that. Andy Speak. Now Barry McDermott, not heading for the bench just yet. He's made a crucial break and he's found the wingman Cummins. So fleet of foot, but Carney is really quick and Carney managed to get back at him. Crucially, but can Hull hold Leeds out now? Sheridan spotted a gap. Through he goes.
There is the response from Leeds. And no doubt this time, no need for the video referee. Stuart Cummings just gives the signal that that is a try to the Leeds number 7, Ryan Sheridan. But what a fantastic pass by Barry McDermott that brought forward to send Cummings away down the sideline. Quick play the ball, and then Ryan Sheridan scores the try and ignites the fans for this semi-final. This is the break by Barry McDermott, pushes off Robinson and then draws the winger in, and look at that pass, just offloads it. Cummings collects, breaks infield, Carney gets back. Also Felch, they just managed to prevent him crossing the line, but a quick play of the ball and the try by Sheridan. The chance again for Harris to add another 2.
Harris converts, you may see in the background that Barry McDermott is receiving some treatment on the field of play. He's had his right knee fairly heavily strapped. There wasn't much wrong with him when he made that break and pass though.
Here's the quick play of the ball. Sheridan dummies and backs himself. Crosses underneath the post to make it easy for Easton Harris, the captain, to add on the 2.
Ryan Sheridan, who always seems to reserve his best for the Challenge Cup. 3 tries at Featherstone in our televised match in round 4. Another try against St Helens and against Dewsbury. So he's now scored in every round of this season's competition. The whole bench in a very subdued mood at this moment. Speak. Now Farrell. Popped out to Harris. And Darryl Powell in support.
Looking at the tackles there, 12 by Speak, Fleary and Broadbent. So a shootout between the teams that leads on the top 2. They've had to do an awful lot of work, but the crucial stats are the ones on the scoreboard which show that they're in the head. They're ahead by 8 points, and they're trying for more. The high kick
was propelled by Sheridan and taken by Samet. Brian Carney. Maiden. He's playing loose forward for Hull and reminiscent in looks from a distance at least of Steve Norton, who played in that position for the great Hull sides of the early 80s.
And some similar trouble in the Hull FC pack. Luke Felch is also feeling his right knee. They've just been on to administer some treatment. They'll wait and see if he can run it off.
Daylight managed to brush off Ryan Sheridan all too easily, but there's a further reception committee waiting. Robinson. Oh, to Dion Bird, who was met a huge hit from David Barnhill.
What a welcome from the Australian, just put the shoulder in. Let's have a look at the replay. Great timing. Didn't need to wrap the arms around, just put the shoulder in and the ball was lost.
These two sides coached by rivals today, but great friends in the past in Sean McRae and Dean Lance of Leeds. They were both on the coaching staff at the Canberra Raiders down under for some considerable time. Blackmore, scorer of the opening try for Leeds. Now Leroy Rivette. And Samet will be penalised for coming in after the tackle had been made.
Come on, mate. Last tackle as well.
Stuart Cummings, referee, turned coach, saying it's the last tackle as well, and that's almost criminal. Leeds would have gone to the kick, I'm sure. Would it have been the last tackle? They know they have the chance from the tap.
Here's McDermott. And Andy Speak, the hooker at dummy half. Sheridan to Fleary. Within 10 metres now of that Hull line. Well, can't really afford to concede again at this point in the game. Speak, Leeds changing the point of the attack.
Half a chance.
Daryl Powell this time to dictate. Harris. Circumnavigating his own man Fleary, finding Kevin Sinfield. Sinfield flicking it back to Farrell. Was that knocked on? Well, Hull seemed to half stop. But the referee has said that Farrell picked it up cleanly. Now Daryl Powell, Leeds keeping the ball alive well.
Right, that's 4. Get up, fellas, get up.
Harris. Sheridan. Engulfed by Hull players, but still slipped it back to his captain, Iestyn Harris. Richie Blackmore, Rivette outside him. And Paul Cook effecting the tackle on Blackmore. Leeds may go for the kick. It's Harris, and it's well fielded by his opposite number, Ben Samet.
Hull did really well then in a scrambling defence, not only to stop the break by Richie Blackmore when Harris had made the overlap, but also once Harris got the ball again and put the little kick in, they had the bodies there to cover it up.
Felsh, who was Super League's top tackler in Gateshead's colours last season. Broadbent. Steve Collins, the centre, coming into the line, and Hull haven't gained much ground. It's the last tackle, and it'll be the kick from Paul King.
Not a bad one either. Again,
Leeds, kick, really.
Well, Leeds defence making Hull kick from inside their own half, just outside the 40. So it won't be Hull's feed. Well, I'm looking to try and find out now whether the referee's just checking it.
Well, Stuart Cummings signalled that the feed was going to be Hull's, and that was a 40-20.
Here we go, fellas. Hang on, sub coming on.
Which makes it a tremendous kick.
Sub's coming.
Well, I was just saying that Leeds had done well to keep Hull pinned inside their own half. But it was a good kick.
Robinson. Real chance for Hull here. Cook. Now Craig Wilson. Oh, he's missed out 2 men. Here's Daylight again. Now is he into the corner? Daylight thinks he is. Referee Cummings gives the try. A second for Matt Daylight. And Hull back in this semi-final with a real vengeance.
Well, it's a massive advantage if you can have the feed from the scrum, turning what looks like a difficult position inside their own half. The long kick downfield, and then from the scrum, just pushing the ball wide to the left. And this is the key, the missed pass over the top. Leeds defence a little bit flat-footed, and Daylight, as his name suggests, has enough room to go on the outside and score.
Matt Daylight, formerly with Cronulla and Perth and Adelaide, where he actually played for the Leeds coach, Dean Lance. He had the honour of scoring the first ever try for the new Gateshead club last season against Leeds in their inaugural match. And it's going to be down to Ben Samet, who from this position a few minutes ago struck the crossbar with his kick. He kicked 3 from 3 against Wigan in the quarter-final. He's a player who hails from Paddington, not in West London but in Sydney. And having taken over the kicking duties from Ian Heron, he has a huge responsibility. He's given that one a fair chance as well, but just pulled up on the power front and dropped short of the post. But it all stemmed from a very slick passing move by Hull.
Yeah, Craig Wilson, the second row, using the long pass and getting daylight on the outside. Leroy Rivet couldn't get there. He'd come in. Easton Harris comes across and doesn't make contact but can't prevent the try, and Hull right back in it.
Sean McRae, twice a winner of the Challenge Cup in his days with St Helens. In both those finals, they beat the Bradford Bulls, who are waiting for the winners of this tie. Wayne McDonald, giant of a prop forward, 6'7" in height, is on for Hull. It's he who plays the ball. Stanley Jean also on, the Papua New Guinea international. And there is Jean. He's actually called Gene in his homeland, but the supporters on Humberside, who really took to him in his days with Hull KR, now christened him Stanley Jean, and that's the name that stuck with him. Cook with the kick, which was touched by Speak and has fallen kindly for Wilson. Here's Stanley Jean, now David Maiden. The wonderful recovery tackle by Jamie Matthew. Hull on the attack, although reduced to 12 men, one of their number is down. Here's Cook. Had 2 to his left and couldn't get it away. It's Craig Wilson who's down. Dion Bird. Maiden. 4 outside him. Oh, and given away to Francis Cummins, wastefully by Wayne McDonald.
Relief for Leeds, because again Hull had the chance. The kick was half charged down, came back into their possession, and they had a great chance.
Craig Wilson, it's the second time he's been down in the game.
And the physiotherapist and trainer both asking the referee to stop the game because it must be serious. Looks like a knee problem.
They're already informing the bench that he's not going to be able to continue. And it was Wilson, of course, who threw out the long pass for daylight to score his second try. Craig Wilson, unfortunately, living up to his nickname in the dressing room of POD, an acronym for Prophet of Doom, and it seems to have struck.
Well, Sean McRae, the Hull coach, again will have to reshuffle his ideas of substitutions. This one forced upon him, but he has got a quality bench. He's already brought Stanley Jean on.
It's been an unfortunate season in the Challenge Cup for Craig Wilson. He's contributed plenty to Hull's run, but if you remember, he was concussed against Wigan and was carried off in the quarter-final, and so missed the Super League game against St Helens 9 days ago. And now he's hobbling off in the semi-final.
That was the collision. Easton Harris came in. He went straight for the knee. And Andrew Hick that takes his place.
29 years of age.
Yep.
6'3".
Wait for his foot on the ball.
2 tries against Rochdale in the 5th round.
On the ball before you move up. Okay, let's go.
And a vastly experienced player who's actually qualified to play for Ireland in the Rugby League World Cup, which takes place this autumn. One hesitates to say that anyone's qualified for Ireland, but apparently he is. Samet beneath the kick. And now bright sunshine overhead. Brian Carney accepting the 3-man tackle from Leeds. Stanley Jean. David Maiden. Caught by Barnhill. Possession pretty equal in the opponent's half. Andrew Hick. Another rugged two-man tackle by Fleary and Farrell combined. Jean to Robinson. Robinson thought he saw a gap, but it was quickly closed by Darryl Powell. And again, Hull looked for invention on the last tackle from Cook. Hoisted high towards the corner. Daylight off in pursuit. Oh, taken by Iestyn Harris, but only at the second attempt. And Leroy Rivette failing to get very far away from his own try line. Harris. Hull tigerish in the tackle. Blackmore. Hull, who was so impressive in the manner of their victory over Wigan in the last round. They kept Wigan tryless for the first time in 52 Challenge Cup ties, a run that stretches back over 12 years. Powell's kick. Oh, Carney unlucky, he was struggling with the sunshine, it was right in his eyes, and he got an awful bounce.
He did well in the end just to collect it and prevent it from going in touch.
Steve Collins, former Featherstone Rovers fullback, that's needless to say another Australian in terms of his origins. Now Samet. Hard to believe that this version of the Hull club is only 4 months old. The old Hull FC has been going since 1865, but only on November the 16th last year did the merger of Gateshead and Hull finally get the go-ahead.
News of Hull's Craig Wilson has gone off to the treatment room. He described to the club doctor that when he went up for the ball, he landed very awkwardly, twisted the knee, some joint damage there, and it was extremely painful for Craig Wilson. On the Leeds bench, Barry McDermott's limbering up again, but of course he's got an injured right knee as well as a strapped left knee. But it looks as though McDermott will yet play some more part of this game.
So good job that Richard has such a degree of medical knowledge.
It is so important how the coaches handle their substitutions, how they spell the props. None of them obviously, or neither of them I should say, want to be forced into making changes through injury, but it is crucial, particularly in the forwards, how they're spelled. Barry McDermott, as Richard said, I'm sure will come back on and have a big impact.
Lee Jackson, oh, well gathered by Luke Felsh.
Well, the idea was right from Jackson, maybe the execution not.
Stanley Jean. Now Paul Cook to Dion Bird. Bird drawing in the winger and then feeding his own wingman Daylight. Back to Paul Cook. This is good from Hull. Will Robinson to Wayne MacDonald. One of the 2 try scorers against Wigan in the last round for Hull. Robinson trying to dictate, and it finds David Maiden, but Leeds are sticking well to their task. Maybe Grimaldi, the captain, can find a way through with the help of Andrew Hick.
On the last tackle, will they go to the kick or will they run it? They take it to the right with Robinson, and then kick.
And Robinson's kick is fielded, and the ball is kept alive somehow. Stanley Jean gathered it up, and it's going to be play on. It would have been the handover anyway.
Well, Hull aren't afraid at all to try and push the passes. They realise maybe there's a chance on the outside.
Lee Jackson, former Great Britain international hooker and a former Hull player as well. He actually played for them the last time they were in a semi-final of the Challenge Cup in 1992 against Castleford. Powell. This arguably is Hull's biggest day since that semi-final date. They've not been in the final of this competition since 1985, they've not won it since 1982. And they really did have a great side, a core of New Zealanders and the likes of Peter Sterling, the great Australian, the back end of Clive Sullivan's career, Steve Norton, David Topless, who's now back at the club as their manager of recruitment. Stanley Jean. Andrew Hick. Didn't get far before he was gathered in by David Barnhill. Robinson. Kicked through by Grimaldi. And Collins appealed that he was held back, but in truth it was sterling defensive work by Sinfield. Iestyn Harris.
One of the top tacklers again, Leeds again, having to do a lot of the defending. Darren Fleary with 20, but is so close in the packs. They really are having to do an awful lot of work, and that may tell in the second half.
Rivette. Jackson finding Blackmore. Blackmore, another player who took part in that 1992 semi-final when he was in Castleford's colours. Anthony Farrell. Matthew. Sheridan. Good play by David Maiden. Harris. Oh, Grimaldi got to him, and the ball's gone loose. And that Leeds attack will peter out as Sammet has it for Hull. Carney. Wayne McDonald, former Wakefield Trinity player.
Inside the last 2 minutes now, just before the half-time interval, a crucial time, and if Hull can get down on the Leeds line and put some pressure on, possibly get some points, it was always going to be close to semi-final, and it's proved to be that way. Real seesaw battle in the first 40.
Well, we saw in yesterday's semi-final the fact that the Bradford Bulls scored a crucial try on the stroke of half-time, really dictated the outcome of the game. Well, certainly don't want to concede in the remaining minute and a half of this first period, in which they've done very well, as we expected them to do. Rivette. Leeds, the bookmakers' favourites for this. Bradford, the favourites to take the Challenge Cup overall after a couple of fairly awesome performances so far this season. Blackmore. The veteran stage of his career now, Richie Blackmore, one of the few players on the field there who's over the age of 30. Sheridan. With the kick towards the Hull line, Sammet retreating. And both wingmen available to help him out. Sammet going on his own, eluding Blackmore, but not Sheridan nor Rivette.
Carney bringing it away, but notice how the Leeds defence was so condensed, making sure that the wingman doesn't get a chance to break.
There's Dion Bird. One or two whistles around the stadium from supporters anxious to get their half-time refreshment before psyching themselves up for the decisive 40 minutes of this semi-final tie.
Well, with Iestyn Harris back deep, maybe a little chip kick over the top here on the last one. There's nobody behind the line to cover for the little chip.
And it's Robinson who does kick. And Rivette who goes back and gets the ball. Iestyn Harris. Peter due to go any second now. It obliges, and a splendid first half draws to a close, with Leeds holding a 4-point advantage. What have you made of it, Joe Lydon?
Well, it's been close as we expected. It's been a tough battle in the forwards. Leeds, I think, will be happy to go in with the scoreline as it reads, because they have been at times under the cosh.
Well, the players trooping off. Precious little to choose between the two sides. Leeds set off well, led 6-2, but it's 2 tries apiece, and at this stage very difficult to predict who the likely winners are of this game. Leeds have more big match experience. It's their 7th semi-final in the space of 8 years. Overall remarkable record, really, 35 semi-final appearances, whilst for Hull it's their first semi-final in 8 years. So Leeds ahead on that count, and by 14 points to 10, and we can hear from our touchline man Richard Duckenfield.
With on the touchline Steve Crooks, the Hull assistant coach. Steve, that first half was every bit as competitive as we thought it would be.
Yeah, extremely tough, and Leeds started with a lot of fire like we did, and we didn't have the best of starts with field position, but we weathered the storm, and although we're not happy to be behind at this stage, you know, 14-10 is a reasonable scoreline for us, bearing in mind we hadn't had control of field position. 2
well-taken tries in the corner, though, to keep you in the game by daylight.
Excellent, yeah, you know, that's the quality wingers on the fringes there. Matt Daylight on one side, who's really come up trumps,
and Brian Carney, the Irish lad on the other side, is capable of that as well. We just got to control a little bit better, and we'll get back there.
Maybe more options from Stanley Jean now he's on the field in the second half.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Stanley's a firebrand, and he can get out of dummy half, and that's what we're looking for.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
And it is Iestyn Harris who will get us back underway. Leeds now playing from right to left. Spectators settling down in their seats around this stadium.
Okay, fellas, ready? Ready, Iestyn?
And a breathless hush around the ground. We've heard Jonathan's view and Robbie Paul's view in the studio. What's your view, Joe?
I think it's so close. It'll depend an awful lot on how the halfbacks in Robinson and Sheridan just take control. There is Ryan Sheridan on screen now. Passes given 13 and tackles made 6. He's been involved in most of Leeds' play, in bossing the forwards and taking them around. He's also scored that try, remember. And his opposite number, Will Robinson, he too has been heavily involved in dictating how Hull play. And if we can have a look at these stats, I'm sure they'll show you a similar tale.
We'll have a look at those in just a second. This is Wayne MacDonald. There is Will Robinson.
So important to have that great game against Wigan. And attacking runs 9, tackles made 11. So very, very similar. He's also been heavily involved in the passing game with 15, just bringing on his big forwards.
There's also been a substitution by Leeds. Marcus St Hilaire is on in place of Darryl Powell. This is Keith Senior though with the ball, the veteran Powell, who came into the game with that side strain, taking a breather at this stage. Here's Sinfield. A reminder too that Hull have lost second row forward Craig Wilson to injury.
Well, again we're on the last tackle. Marcus St Hilaire on. So Iestyn Harris has moved up into the standoff role.
And it's his kick. Oh, and two Hull players seem to go for the same ball, but it was taken eventually by the fullback Ben Sammett.
Well, from our angle, they looked like they ran through each other. We couldn't tell who collected that one.
Well, Randall and Hopkirk, deceased, is back on the television, Joe.
Top tackles there, 25 again. Darren Fleary continuing in his workload.
Now here's Steve Collins.
And Grimaldi leading the way for Hull with 22.
Andrew Hick.
There's the half-time comment about the defensive work rate. If either of these sides drop off in that area, then both teams have the ability or have the personnel that can capitalise on it. A half chance will be turned into 4 points or possibly 6.
Marcus St Hilaire getting his first involvement in the game, tackled by Wayne MacDonald. Now Leroy Rivette, who so electrified Wembley on the 1st of May last year. The last Wembley Challenge Cup final of the present era. These two sides playing for a place at Murrayfield on April the 29th. Blackmore. Oh, and he's gone around the outside of daylight. And Cook is struggling to get across to him, but he's got there. And the ball was hurled in desperation. And the referee waiting to see where it ended up, and he's ruled that it was knocked forward. And it will be a scrum down.
Well, daylight's no slouch. But Richie Blackmore managed to get it round the outside. And it's a good job the cover was there, because he really is on form, Richie Blackmore.
Hold it, fellas. Kevin, in and bind, please. Darren, stay in there, let's out the back and watch it, stay in.
Referee Cummings just dictating terms at the scrum. And this is Dion Bird.
And Leeds might soon benefit from the return of their prop forward Barry McDermott. His injured right knee was beginning to stiffen up. They've worked on it at half-time, and McDermott is anxious to rejoin this game as quickly as he can.
I'd imagine that Hull will be anxious for him not to rejoin the game as quickly as possible, but that's a penalty to Leeds.
It's a penalty because the ball was never played correctly. You'll notice that he never gets to his feet, he just puts the ball on the floor, never really regains it and never touches it. So well spotted by the referee.
Just what Hull can't really afford. Sheridan, Fleary. Tackled by Robinson and Grimaldi, captain and vice-captain. Lee Jackson to Iestyn Harris, who can expect to be more and more involved now he's moved upfield. Not that he wasn't involved in the first half. Senior. Sheridan, the organiser. Misses out Jamie Matthew. Gives it now instead to Anthony Farrell.
Possible trouble for Leeds. Richie Blackmore had such an impact on this game so far as hurt his left leg. He's limping wide out onto the right of the pitch, not moving at all well at this point, Blackmore.
Well, that's a blow for Leeds, and that's well gathered in by Brian Carney for Hull. They'll have possession back. That seemed to be a swinging arm by Barnhill, and the referee's penalised him for it.
It missed, but the intention was there.
You didn't make contact, but if you had, there'd be a lot of problems, right? Don't swing the arm in there, go for the head. It's for intent, yes, intent.
So it was for the intent rather than any contact.
I think the draft was felt as it came across the top. Ben Summit glad he's not a couple of inches taller.
That had made contact, he'd have been a few inches shorter. Oh, and Hull have lost it, but have they got it back? Yes, and it went backwards, so it's play on. That's a let-off for them. Lee Jackson almost snaffled it for Leeds. Here's Wayne MacDonald. All 6'7" of him. Stanley Jean. Robinson. Dion Bird. Bird changing the angle and looking for support, and it comes from Luke Felsh. Felsh is tackled by Barnhill.
And Sinfield had to be quick to get in to close down the chance for Hull.
Cook to Grimaldi. Now Carney. Hull's work ethic is most impressive. They do not have players who on an individual basis have the same reputation as their Leeds counterparts. And the same was true when they played Wigan in the last round. But they do make up for that in other areas. Cook with a kick high towards the left corner. Matt Daylight's off in pursuit. He's taken it, and Daylight's over the line. Jubilation amongst the Hull players, but there'll be a question mark over offside here.
Is he onside?
If it's allowed, it'll be a hat-trick for Matt Daylight. But it's going to be down to the video referee, David Campbell. It was a wonderful take by Daylight from a terrific kick by young Paul Cook.
Well, if he was out of the blocks at the right time, this is a fantastic kick and a fantastic take for the try. It's hard to see from that angle whether his wingman was onside, but the crossfield kick was absolutely superb. It was obviously called for, and Daylight set off and outstripped his opposite number to collect it. Leroy Rivet just couldn't believe where he came from, and the suggestion is he's onside from that view, and that's a well-worked kick.
Well, that's what the video referee has got to go on, and he's seen enough. He says try, and it's a hat-trick for Matt Daylight. There's no question that the use of the video referee adds such a lot of drama to the occasion. It may detract slightly from the moment when Daylight plunged over the line with the ball. But Hull are level, and Daylight has scored all three of their tries.
They'd have the overlap on the left-hand side. They played the ball previous. They didn't use it, and instead, although they had the numbers, they went to Cook for the kick. Put the kick back across to that left-hand side, and Daylight just screamed down the wing to collect. Again, a difficult chance for the conversion.
Ben Samet. It's the third time he's tried a kick from that sort of position, and the third time he's gone pretty close, without ever quite succeeding. But what credit is deserved by the 18-year-old standoff half Paul Cook for a wonderful kick that has allowed Daylight to tie the scores.
This is the Cook kick, cross field, back into the corner, enough height on it to give the chance for Daylight to get there, and Rivet couldn't. And what a try, what a game. This semi-final really is living up to all expectations.
I hesitate to mention it, Joe, but Hull were involved in the last drawn semi-final against Halifax in 1988, and they have played Leeds in the final of the Challenge Cup in this town of Huddersfield before now, and that too was drawn. That was in 1910 at Fartown.
Well, I wouldn't mind watching extra time in this game with the quality that's being shown.
Hull have got a problem in that they have an injury. But at the moment, it's Leeds on the attack with Keith Senior, and Hull, having just levelled the scores, need to just hold things tight for a few minutes. It's going to be difficult, though, against this array of attacking Leeds talent. Barnhill. It's Samet, the fullback, who's carrying the injury. He's limping along the defensive line. Now Andy Hay, who's been sent on as a second-half substitute by Leeds. Jackson to Sheridan. Last tackle, it's the kick through. Stanley Jean gathers it and is hauled down behind his own line.
Good pressure from Leeds. Using the right option, Sheridan running to the line, making Hull make the decision. The little probing kick through, but Stanley Jean's in the right place. Can't get back into the field of play, but does well to collect. Richie Blackmore making sure of that.
Robinson dropping out. Caught by Barnhill. Tackled by Maiden and Grimaldi. Confirmation of Andy Hay's arrival in place of Anthony Farrell. Jackson. Sheridan. Now Jamie Matthew. Leeds haven't really been firing on all cylinders at any stage this season so far under their new coach Dean Lance. If ever there was an incentive, it's here for them at the McAlpine, and here's Kevin Sinfield. Sinfield still going.
Hey, Tony, leave him!
Leeds regrouping. Harris. Well, there was a gap for Sheridan, but he had to reach behind him to take the ball.
The chance is still on this left-hand side.
Harris to Senior. Oh, forward pass. Senior plunged over, but the ball was forward from Yestin Harris.
And this is the last tackle, so the turnover to Hull, but the chance was out there. Harris rifles the pass, but it was slightly forward. Well spotted by the referee. Senior gets over for the try, but it's pulled back.
Well, there was that question mark over the possible forward pass by Barry McDermott to Francis Cummins in the build-up to a Leeds try in the first half. That wasn't given. That one correctly was. Stanley Jean. Sinfields doing the tackling together with Jamie Matthew. Will Robinson. It's a teasing kick, and it doesn't quite make touch. It was St-Hilaire who got to it, and it's Collins and Grimaldi, a combination of the two, that get to him. Senior. Three times last season the former Gateshead club played against Leeds, and 3 times they lost. Twice Hull played against Leeds and twice Hull lost. But this is the biggest day of all, and those two old friends have put friendship aside for this day only. Together at Canberra. Very much apart today. It's an awkward one for Carney. Oh, Cummins has got it! And he plunges over. And this time the referee is happy and gives the try without recourse to the video referee. Leeds back in front.
Well, no doubt, Brian Sheridan, great hanging kick into the corner. It was Paul Cook that put the one in for daylight to score. This time Sheridan finds his wingman, Francis Cummins. Brian Carney couldn't get off the ground to collect the kick, and Cummins steals in for the try, and the seesaw battle continues. A fantastic take by Francis Cummins. The high shot shows the position of the players, and Cummins just steals between the two of them for a great try for Leeds Rhinos.
Francis Cummins celebrating his 200th appearance in the colours of the Leeds Rhinos. He was the youngest ever finalist at the age of 17 when he played against Wigan in 1994 and scored a try. And the army of Leeds supporters in fine voice.
32 metres to the post for Yestin Harris. It's his kicking that's been the difference so far.
Saw a glimpse of the Scottish Saltire. That's the prize, a trip to Murrayfield. Absolutely plumb through the middle. And Francis Cummins, who has such a Challenge Cup pedigree, giving heart to those supporting Leeds from the sidelines.
Misses the take by Cummings, gets up, uses his arms well, blocks out Brian Carney and scores the 4 points. And when you've got Yestin Harris to add on the 2 more often than not, it really does make a difference.
The Great Britain winger on 3 occasions, Francis Cummings, in his 8th season with the club. He is one of the longest serving players at the Leeds Rhinos. And they're back in front by a 6-point margin. Dean Lance, newly arrived, happy to rely on an old face, even though Cummings is only 23.
Leeds just dominating in this second half. Still only 6 points the difference on the scoreboard, but I'm sure we'll be looking to extend that lead. Let's just see now Hull, whether the Storm or whether they too can come back yet again.
Sheridan. You just feel, Joe, that Hull need to score the next try in this game.
Well, they're quite capable of doing so.
And here's Carney, who was caught out defensively by that high kick from Sheridan. Of course, we're in the almost unique position of having a married couple, one of whom is the chairman of Hull, the other of whom is the chief executive of Leeds. And watching on from the director's box today, Kath and Gary Hetherington, a family divided. There is Gary Hetherington, who was actually thrown out of the family home on Tuesday of last week because tensions were running too high.
They'll make the most of it. Gary Hetherington's son sitting alongside him. He can't lose, can he? He's going to Murrayfield despite the result today.
He's been living on takeaway food for the last 5 days, he tells me. Kath Hetherington, his wife, isn't expecting him back till at least Tuesday or Wednesday, once things have calmed down. Here's Andrew Hick, no sign of this semi-final calming down. Bradford Bulls awaiting the winners. Stanley Jean, Robinson, Sammets. Hull need to call on those reserves of resolve that they showed against Wigan. They were ahead early in the game through a Samet penalty, but not since. Robinson with 4 to his left. There's Dion Byrne. Daylight now to Paul Cook, and Paul Cook is brought down 5 metres short. It's the handover.
Only half a chance. They had the numbers hold, but again Leeds come across to snuff out that half chance.
Very pleasant spring-like afternoon in Huddersfield now. That was a big hit. The ball went forward, and that's something of a result for Hull, and no wonder the players are congratulating one another.
It was Grimaldi, the captain, that puts the shoulder in. And a great chance for Hull now. The feed at the scrum and 6 tackles to go inside Leeds Rhinos' 20-metre area.
Sammett. Steve Collins at dummy half. Dion Bird. Hull will batter away and look for a moment of inspiration. Stanley Jean to Andrew Hick. Back to Stanley Jean. Robinson with the one-handed pickup. Paul Cook, Leeds defence is up to everything Hull are throwing at them at the moment.
Darren Fleary, brilliant tackle under the post.
Wayne MacDonald. And now it's the last tackle. Hull have to make a decision.
And the hands are up on the right-hand side for the kick. It doesn't come across.
The ball's gone loose and Dion Bird has plunged towards it.
Okay, let's just see how it's come out.
And this will go to the video referee.
Let's see how the ball's come out of there. I didn't get a good view on it. I don't know how the ball's come out.
It was Dion Bird that dived for the ball. Stanley Jean, who seemed to lose it, but how did he lose it? Well, it was a kick through. There are all sorts of ricochets.
Okay, so we need to see where the play's come from.
Now, did Dion Bird get to that, or was it the Leeds player?
I think Leroy Rivet just about managed to get back. He slips. He doesn't collect at first chance, and as Bird comes down, I think he just manages to snatch that one back. It was a close call though. Stanley Jean, I thought, took the wrong option because the back line was lined out ready for the kick, possibly across field. Instead he goes down the short side. Leroy Rivet just slips, but I think he just gets down to it. I think only just. It's a close call.
Well, the suggestion that the video referee has come to a fairly swift decision would indicate that perhaps he's thinking along Joe's lines. Bob Connolly, the fourth official, chatting to Stuart Cummings as they too enjoy the sunshine and the game. It's an important call.
A sigh of relief for Leroy Revitt.
And Leeds will restart from beneath their own post through Iestyn Harris. No joy for Hull that time. Wayne MacDonald. A mountain of a man. Robinson. Andrew Hick. Just got it away to Salmon. That's good handling by Robinson. Now Steve Collins, but look at the number of Leeds players who are across to form a defensive barrier. Brian Carney. Stanley Jean poised. Grimaldi. Maiden. Central area is so heavily policed by Leeds. Jean to Paul Cook. Oh, and toppling towards the line is MacDonald. It's a difficult man to stop. It's hard to emphasise how important it is for Hull that they do score the next try in this game. Grimaldi getting it to Collins. Collins thinking about giving it to his wingman Brian Carney. And again we come to the last tackle. And decision time for Hull. Robinson, oh, he was quickly closed down by Lee Jackson. Stanley Jean trying to keep it alive with Cook. It's another kick to the left corner. Oh, and that's a good take. Luke Felsh is the Hull player picked out.
Oh, it's dangerous when he's up in the air, mate. Try and keep out of it. Leroy! Look, Leroy, I know you don't like what happened, but you can't take the law into your own hands, all right? I dealt with it, you got your penalty, other action could be taken, okay? Here we go. Oh, no, you can't do it. Well, can't.
That's good work from Stuart Cummings, the referee. First of all, here's the kick. Leroy Revitt gets up and collects, and the collision, the tackle is made while he's still off the ground. That's dangerous, and he took exception to it, wincing in pain as he landed. And then the referee just calming things down, saying, Leroy, I got it, you got the penalty now, let's get on with the game.
And certainly after that period of pressure, Hull have paid something of a price. Will Robinson's hurt again, he's had some treatment, and so has Tony Grimaldi, the captain. But it looks now as though the return of Barry McDermott for Leeds is imminent.
That could be a telling moment, even though McDermott himself is suffering from a problem with his right knee. Hull have had plenty of the ball in recent minutes of this game. They've had one try ruled out by the video referee. They've gone perilously close on a couple of other occasions. What about this time around? Oh, Blackmore, a flying tackle. Which will do much to raise morale amongst the Rhinos. Andrew Hick.
It was a huge tackle from Richie Blackmore, but it was in Leeds' half of the field yet again. The pressure is mounting on them.
Wayne MacDonald.
Good work from MacDonald to spin in the tackle, just putting Barnhill off, couldn't take him down cleanly. Stanley Jean, you would expect him to go on his own from here.
And Robinson instead. Oh, and the knock-on by Luke Felsh.
And there was a 4-2 overlap if that ball could have been pushed wide.
And Hull need to be alert now as Iestyn Harris breaks. Showing the ball to the winger Cummings, but not delivering it. And eventually accepting the tackle. This is Cummings.
Crosses the halfway line for the first time and gets pushed back. First time for some considerable time to get a penalty. The captain of Hull just put a little bit too much into the tackle. Didn't release Francis Cummings quick enough for him to allow him to play the ball. And the penalty goes to Leeds.
One just wonders whether Leeds have now ridden the Hull storm. Here's Barry McDermott.
Well, so often you see that they didn't put the points on the board when they had the chance, and now can Leeds come back straight away and extend their lead?
And here's Barnhill. Lee Jackson. Oh, it's a silly penalty to give away by Luke Felsh.
The side of the play the ball, you've got to be in front if you're going to do that.
The wrong position at the play the ball, and a penalty to Leeds.
never got back onside. Number 12 felt.
Together, Yestin. What's that shouting at me?
And an easy chance for Yestin Harris, kicking so well. And as we suggested, all that pressure by Hull down there on the Leeds line.
And as we watch the replay, noticeable that a number of the Leeds players got together in a little huddle, and there were some high fives and some handshakes. They obviously feel that they've come through an important test in the context of this semi-final. Straightforward for a kicker of Yestin Harris's quality. 22-14 in Leeds' favour. Harris successful with 5 kicks now. And the McAlpine Stadium at the moment is inhabited by plenty of happy Leeds supporters and some rather worried fans of Hull FC, who made the M62 into a strange sight today with all their black and white. The motorway looks like the world's longest zebra crossing, with every single car having black and white favours and flags hanging from windows.
Come on, no penalties.
There's no denying the passion for the game on Humberside, passion which at times has lain dormant in recent seasons.
But such is the game of rugby league, you have to take your chances. Hull have had all that pressure, they didn't get the points on the board. Leeds with 2 penalties awarded to them, one for Stuart Cummings being held down to play the ball, and then an offside gives instead Leeds the chance to score 2 points and extend their lead. Now what Hull have to do is try and force an error down here. At the least they have to make them kick deep inside their own half.
And Jenny Matthew is hurt. Sinfield. Jackson to Harris. Oh, scuffed the kick. A rare sight.
Yestin Harris again stepping out, but didn't connect well at all, did he? He managed to evade the tackle, or the attempted tackle.
Confirmation that he is mortal after all. Cook. Darren Fleary topping the tackle count, together with Tony Grimaldi, the Hull skipper. Some real hard work put in out there. Jean. Broadbent.
And this is where the Sean McRae philosophy will come to bear on the Hull side. Let's just grind it out, let's play the right type of football, keep the pressure on Hull. They did not score the points in the last pressure period, but as the Hull bench look on,
Robinson.
They need something from this sortie in the Leeds half.
Well, lost a few metres through that. And again, we've had 5 of the 6 tackles.
A kick to daylight, you suggest? It's worked before.
It's Robinson who sent it going. It hasn't got the distance to get all the way to daylight directly. And Leroy Rivette is very grateful to gather that one in.
I'll tell you, no advantage. No advantage, it was knocked on.
Leeds there in numbers on this occasion. Leeds facing the sun in this second half, and the shadows, as you can see, they're quite long, difficult for Leroy Rivette and his colleagues to try and take a high ball in that corner.
One thing that will please the Leeds coaching staff is that this has been a much more disciplined display after the indiscipline of their Super League defeat at Wigan last week. Apart from that swinging arm by Barnhill, there haven't been too many aberrations.
No, I think that again would have been a key into the preparation for this game. Let's get back to what we do best.
And here's Harris, who set a lead in that respect. Hay. Blackmore taking on daylight and then finding his winger, Leroy Rivette. Memories of Wembley, but Paul Cook got to him after Sabat had made the initial tackle, and a penalty has gone Hull's way.
Well, Richie Blackmore puts his hands on his head because he said, the referee, just leave him alone.
Okay.
He was trying to hurry up the play of the ball to get the ball across to the left-hand side. Rivette makes the break. Richie Blackmore is with him but can't get in a position where he can collect the pass and support. And just a push there, just trying to speed things up.
Grimaldi. Both these sides have lost both their opening Super League fixtures. As in the Challenge Cup, it's been a different story. They've each faced two sides from the Northern Fold Premiership and now two Super League opponents, in contrast to Bradford Bulls, who've beaten 4 teams from the top flight in booking their place at Murrayfield at the end of next month. Jean to Robinson. Well, Wayne McDonald did very well to cling on. Still time for Hull to rescue themselves. The ball has gone loose. The referee says it's been knocked on, and so it's going to be a scrum down.
Well, Wayne McDonald appealed that he wasn't the one that was guilty of losing the ball. There was a hand in there, and I think he might have been right.
Well, feeling hard done by.
In you go.
No real arguments. Not that you would expect any in this sport.
Pretty even there. Hull have come back into it. Remember that Leeds in the beginning of the second half just dominated and got points on the board.
Saint-Hilaire, it's gone loose. Was raked back in.
Well, one or two
before the referee had
mistakes.
spotted it.
1 or 2 mistakes here from both sides. Again, this one in Leeds half of the field, which is what Hull want. They need to put some pressure on again on Leeds' line and try and get across for the score. They need 2 scores at least.
Get him, fellas, and bind, please. Jamie, don't break, it's out.
Hull with the ball. Cook. Steve Collins. It's another penalty to Hull. Given against Saint-Hilaire. And Cook will kick to touch. This is a platform for Hull, and they need to take one of these opportunities soon. Robinson. Cook. Samet. Collins. Oh, dangerous, but Maiden's got it.
Well, they've done that on a couple of occasions now, Hull. Steve Collins coming back on the inside, and the Leeds defence are reading it well. Maybe they want to vary the option on this right-hand side.
Jean. Robinson. McDonald. Oh, the ball was ripped away. It's another penalty to Hull.
3 on the trot now against Leeds. 2 plays in there, Sheridan and Harris, and Sheridan rips the ball out. Clearly 2 plays in the tackle for Leeds. Now the decision is, do they go and kick it into the corner, or do they try for goal? And I think the answer is the attempt at 2 points.
Well, this is an important kick for Hull. Every moment in this semi-final could be described as important from now on. Because if Ben Samet can kick this penalty, then Hull would be within a converted try of Leeds. It's been great cut and thrust to this semi-final. It's enthralled a very good-sized crowd. Now is the time for concentration from Samet. And he's produced it.
That is a very good kick, not only because of the pressure, but the wrong side of the field for a left-footed kicker, as Samet is. And it never looked like missing.
So, more for Leeds to think about. And for the Hull supporters here in their massed ranks, nail-biting moments. Harris with the kickoff. Deep towards Broadbent. Oh, referee says that was knocked on. Broadbent would claim it went backwards, but Stuart Cummings says no.
Well, I thought it went backwards, but forgive me to all the prop forwards that play the game, but sometimes you worry in a kick-off when you have a prop back there to collect.
Real problems for Iestyn Harris, dealing with the sun as that ball came towards him. Craig Simon, you saw in your shot there, who's on as a substitute for Hull now. He's replaced Paul Cook. Sheridan. Sinfield. Cook has given his all, and that deep kick that set up the third try for Daylight was worth a good portion of the admission money on its own. But Dermot in centre field for Leeds. Just over 7 minutes to go, and here's Yestin Harris. So difficult to put down. Last tackle for Leeds, Jackson. Oh, and Hull are outnumbered on that flank, but instead it's going to be Anthony Farrell going on his own.
Heartbreak for Hull. They've just got back into this game. They're one converted try away, and up pop Leeds again, this time in the form of Farrell. He decided to ignore his support players on the right-hand side and step back in towards the post, and had enough power, strength and evasive skills to cross for the try.
Is that the score that will break the resolution of Hull? The veteran forward in his 15th season, Jamaican-born, and a score that may well prove to be the seminal point of this semi-final.
Well, Paul Broadbent ended up as the last line of defence. It was his mistake on the post which gave Leeds the chance. I think, like the Leeds players and possibly the Hull defence, expected Farrell to push the ball wide. Instead he came back on the angle, and the Hull defence couldn't stop him. Harris again with a simple conversion in front of the post.
Well, there are smiles on Leeds' faces now. And Paul Broadbent, who knocked the ball on, or was adjudged to have knocked the ball on behind his own line, looking rueful, as Dean Lance, the coach, and one of his lieutenants, Darryl Powell, discussed the prospect of a trip to Murrayfield.
Well, if Hull FC are to lose this semi-final, I guess the only consolation for them in that defeat will be that the scorer of 3 tries for them, Matt Daylight, their winger, has actually won the Man of the Match award. The Man of the Match goes to Matt Daylight, and so far as Leeds are concerned, it's a question now of discipline and playing the clock down.
Has there ever been a player who scored a hat-trick in a Challenge Cup semi-final and finished on the losing side? It's the prospect that looms for Matt Daylight. Barry McDermott almost lost it one-on-one with David Maiden. Brian Carney is down for Hull. Here's Anthony Farrell, scorer of that oh-so-important try. Carney still rather groggily trying to get to his feet. Barnhill. The prospects of a huge West Yorkshire derby in the Challenge Cup final looming. At this stage, it looks very much like Bradford against Leeds, which has been the semi-final meeting so often in recent years. He was here on this ground last year, and Sean McRae, who's only ever once lost a Challenge Cup tie before today, having to contemplate the notion of brave defeat. Still not over yet, though. Carney looking to emerge and doing well to get the ball away to Will Robinson. Hull now have to go for broke. Broadbent. Ball has come loose, it was ripped away. Another penalty to Hull. But they have to score twice and convert both the tries, even to get back on level terms.
There's Broadbent trying to push the pass. He realised just how much is needed here.
Grimaldi, good ball, David Maiden, it was forward.
Oh, just forward. That sums it up. Hull pushing the passes across, forcing the error. By the way, they have to try and play catch-up. They have to get back into this game and do it pretty quickly, and that was just a touch forward. Great angle run by Maiden.
It's out. All over the place.
It's hardly a textbook scrum.
Well, it'll need feeding again. You may find that Ryan Sheridan is a little bit smaller when he emerges from that pile.
Right, go over, fellas. Get over the 20. Hull, move over.
Sheridan has it. Marcus St-Hilaire. Leeds no doubt would like one more score to seal it, but they're not going to get it from this particular section of the game. I'll have the put in at the scrum. Handling error by St-Hilaire. It was as his elbow jarred into the turf. Robinson. Samet with the long ball to Dion Burden. It's the kick very early, it's the chase for daylight. Rivetti's going back for Leeds. Oh, and he's lost it, and it's been tipped behind by Marcus St-Hilaire.
Offside is the decision from the referee, and the good one too.
And Samet has taken the tap and is trying to plunge over himself. Very quick thinking from the Hull fullback, but it's not quite worked. Jean to McDonald. McDonald finding a gap. He's impossible to stop. McDonald, now was that one movement? The referee is going to go to the video screen.
Okay, Barry. Let's have a look.
If it was a double movement, it won't be a try. If it was just one movement from Wayne McDonald, then Hull have a sniff.
Well, I think this is a try, and what's probably more important to Hull is the clock. Has it stopped? Because as McDonald here goes across with St-Hilaire on his back, he isn't held up, the movement doesn't stop, he grounds the ball, and that will be a try. And a glimmer of hope for Hull in the dying minutes. St-Hilaire can't prevent his forward motion of the big prop forward. The substitute on for Hull went straight through a gap between Kevin Sinfield and Barry McDermott, and St-Hilaire just isn't big enough or strong enough to prevent the forward motion. Nothing wrong with the grounding of the ball either. A simple conversion for Samet. The try is awarded.
And Wayne McDonald, unimaginatively nicknamed Big Mac, 6'7" and all that, scores his 7th try in 6 games for his new club. And it does give them hope. Samet to take Hull within 6. Now this is where Sean McRae can really earn his money. So experienced in the Challenge Cup, so respected in the rugby league world, and his side are battling right until the end. Barry McDermott did his utmost, but McDonald had grounded the ball, and no wonder McRae is checking his watch.
One try in it and a conversion. Will Leeds go for the short kick-off? I doubt it. They'll want to put this as far downfield as possible and keep the distance between the Hull attackers and their own try line.
Get set on grandstand for a grandstand finish. Here's Dion Bird. You can see how close we are to full time. Andrew Hick. Hick just has to hurl the ball out anywhere, and they've lost it early in the tackle count, Hull. And Leeds will just want to work out the clock. Jackson will take an inordinate length of time in getting to his feet. Now it's Justin Harris. He is dragged down. Leeds within a matter of seconds of another Challenge Cup final appearance. This is Barry McDermott. And they're there! Hull's brave fight back, cut short by the hooter. And Dean Lance, only 3 months into his coaching career with Leeds, is taking them back to the Challenge Cup final. Jubilation amongst the Rhinos supporters. They can now confirm their bookings for Murrayfield 5 weeks hence, whilst Hull, after the bravest of efforts, have to accept in the end that they are the vanquished semi-finalists. The two teams embracing and both congratulating and commiserating with one another. And Dean Lance, the victorious Leeds coach, is now with Richard Duckenfield.
Well, congratulations, Dean. Actually, you can hardly speak, I know, but I guess the sense of relief to get through that one must be enormous.
Absolutely. It's been a really tough couple of weeks, but now the guys showed that they've got a bit, plenty of spirit left in this club yet.
I know that as a coach you'll say you conceded too many points, but you couldn't really legislate against the kind of tries that Matt Daylight scored for Hull, could you?
Outstanding, and he's a great little player, and they're just good tries, and you just give them a pat in the back for the good effort that they did. But we scored some fairly good ones too. I was very thankful to say.
You can allow yourself a few moments of celebration, maybe a few lotions to ease the throat, I guess.
Yeah, I think I will. We'll have a couple of beers tonight and relax and get our mind back on the job tomorrow.
Congratulations, Dean. Thank you very much.
It's been a great day.
So it's going to be Leeds against Bradford, a semi-final pairing in 3 of the last 4 years on this ground. Now they're to meet on an even bigger stage in the final at Murrayfield. A repeat of the final of 1947, which Bradford won by 8 points to 4. The decisive try scored that day by the man who's now the Bradford timekeeper in his mid-80s and who's watching this game on television at home, the great back row forward, the Welshman Trevor Foster. 13 previous Challenge Cup meetings, Leeds have won 8 of them, and one can only feel for the man of the match, Matt Daylight, scorer of a hat-trick. He too is with Richard.
And before that, a health check, Matt. The arm's in a sling. What's the situation?
Just fell over, you know, it's part of the game. Bit of a bump. Nothing too major, just giving a bit of a rest, that's all.
Is it a fracture?
No, I was fine. It happened early in the first half. It's nothing to worry about.
Strange feeling. Man of the match. 3 great tries from you, but you end on the losing side.
Mate, all credit to Leeds. You know, they're a very good outfit. They deserve to be there. You know, they deserve to be. They played very well today. You know, but we didn't do all the things we wanted. Thanks, Chef. We didn't do all the things we wanted to do today, but by no means did we disgrace ourselves. You know, we hung onto the ball. On the day we just couldn't match it, unfortunately.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you very much.